Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name, do solemnly swear.
Do solemnly swear.
That I will support and defend.
That I will support and defend.
The Constitution of the United States.
The Constitution of the United States.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Discovery Funnel. Billy and I are really excited that you're here to work through this process that we've iterated upon to figure out the really difficult problem of how do you transition out of the military, right? Either the military or how do you transition from one chapter of your life to the next.
Yep.
And here's a big disclaimer, right? I have been through hundreds of educational courses or briefings from the military that were terrible.
Yeah.
They're terrible.
Yeah.
And
I used to teach them.
You used to teach them?
Yeah, it was horrible.
You delivered the terribleness. And this terribleness is death by PowerPoint. Death by PowerPoint, briefing, slides, course curriculum where the person keeps talking like this.
Mm-hmm.
That is not what this is going to be. This is intended to be an authentic conversation between the two of us, and also one that would be like the conversations we've had with other folks on how to transition out. And so the disclaimer is this education series is going to, like I said, be a normal conversation between the two of us. We're going to drip in hopefully some entertaining stuff and have a nice time while we're doing it. And all right, so the stage is set for the Discovery Funnel.
I feel like it has been.
And how we're going to work through this and hopefully not bore everyone to sleep like you might have been bored to sleep in other courses that you've taken around this. So with that, let's get started on who we are and why we might have a little bit of an idea of how to do this. So Billy, we'll start you off with, you start us off.
Hey everybody. So I'm Billy Pugh. I started my career in the Air Force in 2012 when I went to the Air Force Academy. I studied military history while I was there, got into cyber warfare through my study of unconventional warfare there. I thought it was really fascinating. And so in 2016, I commissioned as a cyber warfare officer where I served for 6 years. Half of that time was in education. So that's when I delivered all of my boring PowerPoint presentations, putting people to sleep. And got married in that time, married another military member, was rocking the joint spouse life. It was great. Was going to be a lifer. And then in 2021, I had a medical event that put me on the path to getting medically discharged from the military. So massive pivot in my life. I had to adjust incredibly quickly. You were there for that.
Unexpected.
And now, not in the military anymore. Still a military spouse though. Was fortunate enough to use this process to get a job that allows me to support my wife's career while she still serves in the military. And what I do now is I'm a cybersecurity consultant with Amazon Web Services. So yeah, it's really fantastic.
Nice. And I'm Wayne Worthington. I grew up in Iowa, went to the Naval Academy, studied naval architecture, which is just engineering of ships, as much Navy as you can get. And I realized that's not what I wanted to do. And so I joined the Marine Corps. From there, also went into the Marine Corps Infantry, Camp Lejeune in North Carolina. I was with 2nd Battalion, 6th Marines, and 1st Battalion, 6th Marines for my time there. Deployed a few times with those guys, had a lot of fun. And then for me, I stepped out on my own decision. I stepped out on my own decision and became a executive recruiter. So that's fancy talk for a headhunter or a recruiter for CEOs. After 3 years in that, lost my job with COVID. That was a big mess. Picked up a new one 2 weeks later using the Discovery Funnel. And then a year after that, I recognized that I want to change careers again. So I'm on my third role outside of the Marine Corps now, using the Discovery Funnel each time. That brings us to today. And so we wanted to build this and put this together to spread this knowledge from everything that we've learned to produce it, right? And get this to more folks. And so, I mean, Bill, you have a great perspective on why we did this, and I always want to draw that out.
So honestly, the reason why we did it is transition out of the military is terrifying. Like, people don't say that, but we are people who are designed to exist within structure. We have always been told what to do. At most, you know that in 3 to 4 years, you're going to move to another base, you're going to start a new job, and we've always been told to deal with the hand that's been dealt to us. And this is going to be the first time that you are going to step out and every decision is yours. Every consequence is your fault because you're choosing to do it. And no one is giving you any direction. So you have an infinite amount of space, 360 degrees to move. And it's crazy. So we did
It's a big blank canvas.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Yeah.
The idea is to provide some structure, some semi-formatted structure for somebody to go from this infinite number of options as they transition out all the way down to a couple of very good actionable paths that they can start exploring.
And I mean, this is the seriousness of this optionality, following the military or following law enforcement, whatever it is. The optionality extends from homelessness, right, or nothingness.
Way to put the
Right,
pressure on them, bud.
yeah, I'm going to do nothing, to a fantastic career, or to a fantastic hobby that you're pursuing as the primary means, or a fantastic thing with your family. All these different things come together. It is so infinitely vast that we do not have a process on how to go through every piece and to try everything out. But the discovery funnel is discovering yourself, and then discovering how to put that together and gain direction on a system to go over and over to figure out what's best for now.
For now.
For everything that we know, what's best for now. So who is this for, right? This is for the person going to the next chapter. That next chapter can be from the Air Force out, the Marine Corps out, the Army, all the other sister services out. This can be for the officer, the enlisted, the staff NCO. This can be for the civilian contractor stepping out. And a lot of our conversation will focus around military because that's what we experience.
Of course.
But this can also be any sort of service also.
Yeah.
Civilian service with police officers. Where this comes down to, as you mentioned, is a place of high structure, perhaps high school, college, into a place of no structure. All right, and so this is put together, and this is for the person of going from high structure to no structure. And so we're bringing structure to that through an iterative process, right? And this process is to help bring clarity in all of that.
Ideally.
Yeah. I mean, like,
At least some way to sift through all of the options.
more than what you probably feel like right now, and what I felt like was I don't have a clue.
I had no clue.
Zero clue
Terrified.
on how to do this. And I made some mistakes. We've made some mistakes, and the goal is to not make those mistakes. So perhaps that's why we take it.
The big reason why we think that you will benefit from this course is, let's be honest, there's some fantastic things out there for writing resumes. There's some fantastic things out there for how to conduct an interview, how to network.
How to set up your LinkedIn.
Exactly. But there is no framework for thinking through the entire chain that starts with you going from your old chapter of your life to your new chapter of your life, and going all the way down to, I know what I want to do, who I want to do it for, and I know how I'm going to get that done, which are steps of this process that we've kind of put it together. And so while there are individual courses out there that help you, this is really going to help you connect all of those dots at a macro scale and walk you through how you should think through this entire process.
Right. It's a method of thinking.
Yes.
Right. The discovery process, the funnel that we're going through. I mean, you said it pretty clearly here, like how you should feel at the end.
Yeah, I'd like to think so.
You like to?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a great communicator. He's done this. He did it perfectly.
I
right?
crushed it.
Is the way you feel at the end is that I understand how to navigate, right? Not necessarily that you know where you're going, not that you know exactly where you've been, but we have the tools put together to have further exploration and further discovery. And so the final ask, right, that when you go through this and what we're asking of you at the end of this is to pass it on, right? I learned how to do this from folks at the time I didn't recognize were mentors. I didn't recognize that they were a coach. I had the opportunity to work with you as we went through this, and this was Billy's idea to put it all together.
And I had a vast number of veterans come alongside me, including you, to help me get to where I am now. So we want to use this as our ability to give back and empower you, the listener, to do the exact same thing once you finish this course.
That's right. And so perhaps this is like the most brainwashed thing here, but we put together a mission statement, right, to help bring clarity.
That is a very Marine thing to do, yeah.
Yeah, but we did this.
Yeah.
We built this together. So it's just like maybe we're brainwashed military folks. And so, Billy, I'm going to have you do it, right?
You're going to have me read it? Oh, okay.
Pegged.
Cool.
But like without too much huddy-hud-hud.
Oh, okay. We exist to help people discover their passions and seek out opportunities that match their interests to identify and pursue industry-leading opportunities that change the world.
Yeah.
You want to
Okay.
boil that down for us,
Yeah,
Marine?
boil it down. So like fancy, good for us, whatever. Discover passions. I think that when I was in the Marine Corps, I thought that I liked just marine things, but there's a lot of things behind that. So what's behind that? And that's what we're going to work through is what's behind all these things so we can figure out what you want to do next. Maybe what you might like to do next, to seek out those opportunities because there's a lot of them out there.
Yeah.
The core aspects of what you love about what you do today, there are places for you to find them again. All is not lost. It's not all left behind. There's a lot of things that can carry forward. So it's finding those, which they can only be found once they're identified. And the last is applying it. Great. We figured out what you like. Great. We know that you can move it forward. But now let's actually move it forward into a place. And that's also a really difficult thing to do is finding a new role, a career, an industry, a function, whatever you want to name it, and putting that all together.
What Buster's saying, that sounds like a massive ask. Like we just laid a ton of stuff out in front of you. So let's do like a quick little vibe check
Bring it down.
and just the Marine made it intense. Leave it to Mr. Air Force to chill it all out for you. We understand that this is a lot. It's scary, like we said. And so our goal here, where we're starting right now, is you're just going to start learning a process. And that process is going to provide clarity. And as you work through the process, that's going to bring knowledge, it's going to bring understanding, and that's going to bring peace. And our goal here is as you step out of the military or out of this chapter in your life, you're going to have a path. It might not be the best path, but it's going to be a path. And you'll know where you want to go and you'll be moving there. So for now, just enjoy the ride. Give yourself some grace because we both know
Yeah, bring it down.
This takes reps. It's not going to be perfect and it's not supposed to be. But at least it's a path.
You
It's a
feel
place
terrible.
to go.
Right.
Yeah.
Like not like feel terrible.
Yeah.
The first
Okay,
few
Marine.
times on a networking call,
Yeah.
it's not going to go
No.
very well.
First time I did a networking call, it was horrible. I almost threw up. It was awful.
Because it was the first time.
Yeah, it was
And
terrifying.
you're right. So there's a lot of angst about getting it right because you think if you mess it up, you're going to get set super far back. You're not going to mess it up. And this first role that you do when you step out will not determine the rest of your life. Now, it's important to do the best you can and to bring that forward. In the first 3 or 4 or 5 years, you have plenty of runway to recover. So take the weight of perfection, the weight of you must have the perfect role in the perfect place and all of that exactly figured out. We need to drop that off because it will hold you back, the anxiety of being perfect in figuring out what's right. And this extends from the roles you're going to take, the resumes you're going to build, the networking conversations that you might think, that's not for me. There's nothing about tech I want to be a part of. But we think you should take those calls. You should feel it out because you will stumble. It's okay. You're going to get back up and you're going to do awesome. So that's our vibe check here. Now, there's a lot of people that are listening to this at different phases inside of their transition. So as we look at these timelines, sometimes you have to haul and get there very quickly. You had a longer timeline than myself. They're both different. Everyone's is unique. So Billy, as you think about the timeline, what are some few brackets that you would think of as we go into this? So, and this is just to talk about like the rest of this. As you look at this rest of the course, how fast do you need to move through this? We need to get on the horse now and like go, or is this a cruise?
I think that it really depends. Ideally, I believe that all military members, you really should start exploring these things 2 years out.
2 years.
2 years is a long time, and I understand that. And that's not an ideal situation. And most of you who are at this course, that's probably not you, and that's okay. But for your friends who want to get out soon, tell them that I said 2 years. If you have about 12 months, which is a good amount of time, you know, you're getting ready to go, you're probably going to start a skill bridge, all of that kind of stuff. You have about 9 months of exploration where you can really iterate through this discovery funnel before you have to have action paths that you're going to just move down, courses of action for all of us military types. If you're 6 months in, then you really only have about 3 months to iterate through this cycle before you have to head out on all of these different paths. And then if you're 3 months, you're in crunch time and you need to be dedicating a lot of your life to this because you do not want to step out of the military and not have something because that's just going to add more stress to your life. That might affect your family and that's just not good. And
If you need something.
if Yes.
if you need something.
Yes.
There's going to be folks that step out,
You just want to
that
chill.
want to sit on the beach for 6 months. That's great.
That is fantastic.
Portions of this is that in the civilian sector, recruiters and companies don't know their needs and they can't hold spots for people. And so that's usually a 3-month window is almost too long.
It's close.
From interview to hire, most often is somewhere between 60 and 30 days. And so as you think about this plan, your move, and other things that would go with it, those are the brackets of time frames that we've seen be successful, right? When there's a need on the backside and someone's looking to step into a new role.
Yes.
So take note of that on understanding how fast you want to move through these things, and then also, or how slow. But the portion that's important is the discovery time. How much do you get to learn about people? How much do you get to learn about new roles? And not only is this in crunch time when you're about to change the chapters, but also for the rest of your career, you should be iterating on this to continue to move deeper into what is excellent for you.
And the big thing, volume is good here. The more times you can step through this process, the more knowledge you'll have, the more people you'll meet, the more ideas you will have. And so, like Buster said, don't wait until it's crunch time. Try and iterate through this all of the time, really. It does help.
Yeah. Okay, so we've been talking about like what's going to be in this course the whole time. Like, let's get to it, right? Enough talking. So here's the overview for your notes. I know it's going to be in the course notes for this inside of all of our content, but here we go. Big 4 aspects of the discovery funnel. The why, right? What's going on the inside? The what. So what are the options, functions, industry, types of companies, the different places that you could go? Who, right? So what are the specific names of those? What are the people inside of that? What are the exact roles inside of those? And how do we get to those? And the last is the how, right? The how here is the essence that we see is most important, which is meeting people, networking, and understanding yourself, right? So the big blocks of why, which includes your life goals, values, the what, functions, industries, roles inside of businesses. We'll dive into those and give an overview. The organizations is who, what types of people to go after that you want to talk to, who should you network with, how do we learn and do this discovery process, and the last, the how, right? Connecting with people and making it happen. All this comes together to find a great opportunity for you. This is the process that Billy and I have been working on for a long time, and we think it's going to be a great value to you. Pass it on to others, and we're looking forward to working through this course.